Welcome to the Off-Grid Podcast, powered by Retreat Caravans. Join us as we dive into the incredible stories of caravanners who've embraced the open road and the off-grid lifestyle. Welcome to another episode of the Off-Grid Podcast, and today I'm very excited to speak to a very, very smart man, but more importantly, an off-gridder from the beginning. So Andrew Hewitt from OzX Corp, thank you very much for joining us on the Off-Grid Podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Dilly. Thanks for inviting me.
No, it's not a problem, mate. Now, the show is the Off-Grid Podcast, of course, and, we'll get a little bit into your role and your company with what you guys do. But I believe there's probably not one more person in the world that is as off-grid as you. Now, Andrew, I've had the pleasure of speaking to you a fair few times, but is it true you were born off-grid?
I wouldn't say born off-grid, but certainly grew up completely off-grid. So, all electricity was made by ourselves, all veggies and animal meat and all that sort of stuff was all homegrown until I left to go to uni. So grew up off grid completely. So certainly know the term off grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, yourself, like you said, you grew up on a farm where you guys created your own power. Your parents obviously had a lot to do with that as well. So explain how a normal day of, you guys paying the bills, the electricity bill would go.
Well, there's no electricity bill. So really it's just, from a cost point of view, just like for everyone else, there's an infrastructure cost to set up. And then, of course, that depreciates over many years of usage. So really there's no day-to-day bills at all. Where I grew up was in Northeast Victoria. So we had hydroelectricity running 24 hours a day. So built our own little mini hydro station, had solar running as well. And if required, you could use a diesel backup generator. But even the diesel backup generator ran on fish and chip oil, so even that was recycled.
So you smash down the dimmies, and then you hold on to the oil, and then you recycle it into power, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you can use that. You can even run strangely, you can run a diesel engine off eucalyptus oil as well. So we used to distill eucalyptus leaves.
Wow.
And the oil that's produced off eucalyptus leaves can be used in a diesel generator. It's equally as good.
That's cool. Now yourself, Andrew, take us back. Now, obviously, we know that you've lived an off-grid lifestyle at home, let alone caravanning, right? But when did you get into camping or caravanning? How did it all start for you?
So mum and dad, we used to go caravanning camping since I was, since I can remember, right? So certainly there's videos of me being 2 and 3 years old and, out in the bush and playing with burning sticks and burning myself and getting bitten by ants and fall driving. So, I've always been out in the bush and, living the off-grid lifestyle. So since I can remember, been caravanning, camping.
So it's been a long time, obviously.
Yeah, a long time. So it's basically, don't want to give away my age in full, but it's been a long time.
Of course.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Minus the grey hair, but
So your parents obviously did a bit of off-gridding themselves to probably understand how it all worked, to create your econo lodge at home, so they put into you the off-grid experiences that they've gone through.
Yeah. So basically in the early 80s, let's call it. They set up an off-grid lifestyle, and even back then they had rotary inverters. So for the people in the know, rotary inverters are actually rotating motors that convert a rotational speed into electricity. So they were running on 32 volts. Again, for the people who know, telecom batteries, ex-telecom batteries, lead acid were series to create a 32 volt bank. So no, it's evolved. You live and learn. You start at 12 volts, you go to 24, you go to 36.
And now we're at
48, or 51 actually, 51.
51, yeah.
So
let's talk about that, Andrew. Let's talk about that, because obviously we'll fast forward and then we'll go back. Fast forward many, many years later. Obviously, we don't want to give away your age, but now you're in the caravan industry. You're probably one of the leading electrical suppliers to the Australian market. And of course, as I'm sure a lot of people have known, the American market as well, of all your power technology. You would have put a lot of time and effort into, taking what you thought was something that would work and translating that into actions and making it work, right? Was the transition from a thought process to an actual product? Can you believe that it's actually real, or is it a little bit surreal?
Look, we're 6 years now since we founded the company. The reality is, ever since I was a kid, I built my first hydro system, probably hydroelectricity system when I was 10. It's been there's been a process of learning right through. But the company OzX has been founded for 6 years, and we've been selling product into the Australian market now for 5 years. And I think, the key part is that, I understand what the term off grid means, and I anticipated pretty much what caravanners would need to be off grid. Also, as a caravanner myself, I've done over 70 or 80,000 kilometers around Australia so far, off grid in the outback. What to build, how to make it work, how to make it survive the outback, and what expectations people would be wanting to see for the term off grid, right?
Yeah, definitely. You've listened and you've learned through real life experiences, and you've pretty much come up with a holistic solution for everyone to use the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, there's one caveat I always say is always be customers out there that ultimately want more, but with the technology and price point that we've got, we can really get people truly off grid. And for the people who know how to use solar and know how to use their power, they can certainly be off grid principally indefinitely.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you've done like 60, 70,000 kilometers worth of traveling around Australia. Sorry. Where's the most remote place you've been to?
Mosquito Creek in the Pilbara, I would say. So you head up into Newman, which is, you sort of head inland from Karratha into the Pilbara, and then Mosquito Creek out the back there. So it's really, you would swear you're on Mars. It is literally the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Okay. And is it as hot as what they say Mars would be?
Well, it's not too far from Marvel Bar. So that's one of the hottest places in Australia. But as you always do, you don't go there in the heat of the season. You go there in the off season.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah, it gets warm out there, but I normally go out there when it's in the cooler months.
Lots of sunscreen, eh?
Yeah, lots of sunscreen, lots of gold detecting out there as well.
And where do you go for, I guess, a little bit of relaxation as far as, like not necessarily the really hot, but, the cooler months? Have you been down Tassie way or, anywhere else?
So I do. So in the hotter months of the year, I always do a lot of caravanning, camping, and full driving in the high country of Victoria. So yeah, sort of around the back of around the back of Gippsland there, up to northeast Victoria through Bright.
Yeah,
is very good. So yeah, in the hot months, it's always good to go into the high country. In the cooler months of the year, it's certainly worth being north of Australia, right towards Darwin there, because once you get the wet season up there, it's too hot and too humid. Yeah,
that's fair enough. Good call. Now, your product, OzX's product that they offer, the DCX system, it wasn't just a product that you created, tested it to make sure that's, shake proof and all that sort of stuff for the conditions. You guys literally said, we're going to make a product, we're going to develop a product, but we're going to go truly off grid and test it before we launch this product, right? Now, I followed the journey of John and Fran. Now, they took that test van, was it approximately 170 odd days out in the outback?
I can't tell you how many days, I've forgotten actually, but it certainly was in the order of 23,000 kilometers. So we always target about 20 to 25,000 kilometers of testing.
Yeah.
So we want to get realistic data with realistic testing on realistic roads.
Yeah, and they began here in Melbourne. Up to where exactly?
Yeah, so they basically from Melbourne went right through up through the centre, up through Gibb River, up through the goldfields of WA. So through some of the more remote, rugged areas, as well as the historic Gibb River can certainly throw some challenges at you. We actually broke the suspension, but we didn't break the van or break the inverter. So it's not that we go easy with our testing. We broke a well-known suspension system, just making sure we put it through its paces. But we try and choose a route puts the system through a fair bit of duress.
Yeah, and they would have obviously gotten to a fair few remote areas. Can you recall like the areas that they got to that, again, they were living completely off grid?
The Gibb is a good place for an example there because you've got so much corrugated roads in and out. So they spent, I think, a good 3 weeks in the Gibb, off grid, remote in the Gibb. But also too, it's quite remote in the areas of Laverton in Western Australia and out towards the outback there as well. So they went up. So the two testing people is my mum and dad, as you know, and they do a lot of gold detecting. So they went out to Laverton and went east from there into what is quite remote areas.
Yeah, okay. And they used all of the appliances that were offered up in the caravan as well, because I know your mum can bake some decent muffins. I've had a few in my time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, that's all part of it as well. We need to make sure everything works as expected. And look, it could, being so conditioned to be off grid, it could be easy to fall into the rhythm of being frugal with power or being conservative, because they've been used to doing that for since they moved to the farm,
Yeah.
and since I was a kid. So we made sure that they baked, cooked, toasted, kettled, did all the normal things that people do, to see where the shortcomings were. So it certainly gets a good workout. We record all the data to make sure they're not going easy either.
Yeah.
And we get that data, we look at the systems and we check the system performance. But back in 2019, when that van was running around in the first one, the results were very positive. The test van that we do every year, other than COVID, and the new one coming out now is another lift up on that again.
So let me pull you up for a second. I'm catching what you're throwing here. Now, you said the first one and the one that we're doing. Is this breaking news? Do we have breaking news on the Off Grid podcast? Is there a test van Mark II?
Yes, it's been 2 years in the making. If it wasn't for COVID, it certainly would have been up and out a lot quicker. But no, test van number 2 is destined to leave next week. So that's been,
ladies and gentlemen, our first exclusive.
Yeah, that's right. It's exclusive. Look at it is exclusive, right? There's some leading tech on this platform that is being released in the US. There's stuff that's being released here in Australia. We've got our own self-developed water regen that produces about 63 liters of water per day. That's theoretical, but let's put it in a test. We've got a whole new type of hot water system that has no maintenance at all. Weighs about 4 kilograms, zero maintenance for its life. So there'll be some stuff coming out on that as well. A tapless shower, so no taps, anything at all in a shower anymore. You digitally set all your temperatures. So the electrification system, or the electric system of this van, is all well and truly stitched in for a test. And all going well. It's a complete off-grid solution, including the water.
So you've pretty much made like a smart house on wheels. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, it's a smart house on wheels. And I guess the piece to add to that a smart house doesn't have is that the wheels on this are standard regen or regen drive. So we've been working with a leading chassis manufacturer, which we can say is ARV, around the suspension systems, so that it can be hot swapped out. So if you choose to go just a standard suspension trailing arm system, and then 6 months in, you go, you know what, I want to go regen, you can swap out those trailing arms into a regen system, and even swap it out to a drive system. So we're making a very flexible type solution, so that people can choose their electrification platform, of which of course the regen and drive is all a big part of that.
You're literally allowing people to, pardon the pun, use our slogan, go off grid for longer, aren't you? Yeah,
go off grid for longer and negate fuel costs. So if you're running a diesel or a petrol car, it'll reduce the amount of fuel used. If you're running even an electric car, which will start to certainly become popular in the next couple of years, it will extend its range. There's a lot of embedded tech in this new van. It'll hit the road next week, and Go RV, who's also sponsoring the media, will start to cover this off, certainly on a repeating monthly scale till we finish the test.
And is it John and Fran who are piloting this voyage number 2 with a new test van?
Yeah. So there's no one better than Mum and Dad. It might sound a bit strange, but the reality is that they understand the tech. A lot of the tech was developed with Dad and Mum around the campfires. As we travelled around Australia years ago as well. There's no one better to test it than Mum and Dad as well, right? And we'll get an honest opinion.
Absolutely. Mate, one day my dream is to see the first all-electric caravan towed by an electric car, and hopefully soon enough, our good friends at OzX are going to make that possible, of course.
Yeah, stay tuned. That may well be happening in 2024. I won't let the cat out of the bag, but that'll be the goal. Really is that we'll circumnavigate the whole of Australia quite easily, fully electric, with a pickup truck.
And you look like you're in a car at the moment. What kind of car is Andrew Hewitt's preferred wheels of choice?
To be honest, for driving around Melbourne, or even heading from here to even the state border, a Tesla Model Y does.
Is that what you're in at the moment? Is it?
Yeah. So this is a Tesla Model Y, and it's practical, it's usable. If you tow with it, for sure, it'll have a hit on the range.
Well, it just makes sense, doesn't it? All electric caravan, all electric man in Andrew Hewitt. has to, of course, be driven around by an all-electric car.
Yep, it makes sense.
Now, Andrew, obviously, giving your company a plug now, OzX Corp, they have a distributor here in Melbourne. They are, of course, NCE. So if people want to find out a little bit more product information about your current products and future products that are coming, where do they visit?
Yeah, look, you can always go to ozxcorp.com. That's our core company. There's a lot of media and a lot of pictures and different things on our website. But also NCE, being the distributor, has a lot of content. You can reach out to NCE and have a chat to them. You can ask for which manufacturers are using it from NCE.
Yeah.
We always started off with number one manufacturer, which was Retreat. They were the first to adopt the OzX system, and for the last 4 to 5 years now, you've been using it. Now we've got about 18 manufacturers using our product across Australia.
18.
18, and there's some other bigger names coming out in 2024 as well. So it's certainly getting adopted quite quickly. But if you want more information, NCE is your key target. Jump on their website at nce.com.au.
Yeah.
But also ozxcorp.com have all the base information as well.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, we have been using it for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's just growing in stature. So, we've created the all-electric van, and obviously now we've created the Daydream, being the best of both worlds, offering you a 7-kilowatt battery. And it's just, we all know it, that, everything is heading all-electric. Putting it into a caravan and seeing it in real life. And, I'm hoping to see a lot of people on the Off-Grid podcast that are in the ERV or the Daydream, really putting it into practice. So on behalf of us manufacturers, I speak on Retreat, as well as your other 18 manufacturers that are using it. Thank you and your team for creating this product. And we really look forward to all of your other products that you're bringing out forward. And like Andrew said, if you want to find out a little bit more, ozxcorp.com or nce.com.au is the place to find it.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think one of the things to mention to the people here as well is that, ultimately I'm a caravaner, I'm an off-gridder. I understand the application and understand what we're making for them as well. So, it won't be for everyone. Some people don't want to be all electric, and then they can go gas, hybrid, electric if they want. But the technology is there. The system's plug and play. The battery's externally mounted, so it's best practice. And gives you back your space in your caravan. So, the technology is there, the product's there. It's now well and truly 5 years into it, and launching into the United States in volume next year as well. So it's picking up the pace.
That's unbelievable, mate. Credit to you and your team. Andrew, I know you're a busy fella, right? And I know you've got test caravan number 2 to get ready to go around Australia with John and Fran. If you could pass them a message on for me, September in 2024, can they please lock that down to come to our caravan rally, the Retreat Caravan Rally? It's going to be in South Australia in Tailem Bend, but I'm sure when they came to the last one, which was, I believe, in Geelong, they had a lot of people asking about the product then. There's going to be even more inquiries about it because the product's matured a lot more. So if you can, just put it in their calendar.
No, I'll make sure we put that in the trip agenda and get them down there.
Andrew, on behalf of everyone that's watching the Off-Grid podcast, mate, it's been a pleasure listening to yourself and your story, and we can't wait to find out more. And on behalf of me, thank you for giving my first breaking exclusive interview here on what's coming up in the OzX realm of things.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's stay tuned. You're the first to know, Tilly. It's rolling out next week.
Thank you very much, mate. And one day I hope to see you off the grid. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Off-Grid podcast. If you're passionate about off-grid adventures and have a unique story, we'd love to have you on as a guest. Connect with us to share your experiences and inspire others with your off-grid journey. Remember, life is an adventure meant to be lived off the grid. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories, helpful tips, and exciting adventures. This is the Off-Grid podcast, powered by Retreat Caravans.